Hey everybody, it's Andrew with Digital Nomad Journey. Thank you so much for joining us live today. And if you joined us live, make sure you drop a comment in the live chat and share us where you are coming from. This is Digital Nomad Journey, where we support digital nomads and remote workers seeking the laptop lifestyle and being location independent. I'm just going to do a quick audio check. Perfect. Looks like we're everything is technically sound and working. You got to test these things, right? So here I enjoy so much bringing amazing interviews and fantastic content to new and aspiring digital nomads and remote workers and current digital nomads and remote workers that are looking to optimize their lifestyle. So this Q&A live stream series is something new that I've just rolled out recently. Welcome to episode 6. And my intention is to go live for you every single week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 4 p.m. UK time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. And this was born out of the fact that a lot of people I follow and pay attention to have been going live on a very regular basis, bringing value to their followers and their audience. And I'm no different. I wanna bring value to you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. If you're here live, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching the recorded version, make sure to drop your comments and questions in the comment section below. And perhaps you can even drop some suggestions on future video content or questions you would like me to review. I am obsessed with exploring new ways and more efficient ways of being a digital nomad. So let's get right into today's content now that all the housekeeping stuff is out of the way. So I'm going to be able to bring up the chat here to keep an eye on comments and questions. It's a little on the small side. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'm still going to see if I can figure out a better way to do that. I'm using OBS. The answer might be using another service. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to explore. And before we really dive in, I really want to take a minute to point out that if you are considering a massive lifestyle shift, a lifestyle change, like becoming a digital nomad, going from a location-based person to a location-independent person, I highly recommend you check out my book, Digital Nomad Lifestyle Guide. I wrote this book. It was one of my 2020 goals, was to write and author my very first book ever. And by the time the book was ready, we were right in the middle of the pandemic. So I had to rewrite the book so that it would make sense, and was happy to make it contextualized so that it would make sense whether someone's reading the book today or 5 years from now. But the book is full of content, whether you're an employee, an entrepreneur, a freelancer. Doesn't matter if you want to go from a location dependent to a location independent person. I promise you this book will help. It will definitely help. I put a lot of work and effort into this book, and when I first started out, I wish I had a book like this to turn to, if I'm being honest. So you'll find the link in the description below. That's it right there, digitalnomadjourney.com/free book. And it's totally free. So make sure you get your hands on it today and start learning how to be a digital nomad. Okay, so now that is out of the way, what is the question for today? So today we're going to be talking about, why do people become digital nomads? Why do people even bother? This is a growing trend. It's a massive growing trend, actually. All the data, all the surveys, all the polls taken have shown every single year there is massive growth in digital nomads. And these were all results that were published before COVID, before the pandemic. So I suspect, and it's only my personal opinion, that I suspect recent events over the previous months, over the first half of 2020, will no doubt force some people into a remote capacity, which will lead some of them to just organically shift towards becoming a digital nomad, because they've always thought about it, and now is finally their opportunity to explore. And we've talked about this somewhat in previous episodes. And others are just going to dive right in, knowing sorry, just got distracted there. Knowing that this is the opportunity to be location independent, and once travel becomes back to the normal levels that we were seeing back in 2019, then perhaps a lot of people will actually see value in becoming a digital nomad and living that nomadic lifestyle. So as of right now, normal traveling is not happening. I can see it kind of picking up here and there a little bit. I don't really see a lot of people booking flights. What's really popular these days is RVs and fifth wheels and driving across country and doing all that kind of thing. But as far as major international travel, not much of that is happening. People are staying closer to home these days. But I want to talk about a report that was published by Zapier, BC, before COVID. And for those of you who aren't aware, Zapier is this amazing application integration tool. They've been around for some years now, and last time I checked, they had just under 300 staff. And the reason why I'm highlighting this is because this company is completely 100% remote. They don't have an office space, and they've always been that way, and they've been growing steadily. And obviously, over recent events, many small, medium, and large size enterprises are either going fully remote or and committing to being fully remote, or at the very least are committing to have a partial workforce that will be permanently remote. Now that businesses are realizing that they're going to be a lot more resilient to external crises and factors beyond their control, if their business operations can still be maintained by a remote workforce. So why do I bring this up? This report that Zapier paid for, they went to the Harris poll to have it conducted back in November 2019. And the reason why I love this report is because it actually provides us a really great baseline for what our reality was before COVID, BC, right? So this particular report polled over 880 US knowledge workers, and knowledge workers can be defined as anyone that works remotely sharing knowledge, right? It's no unexpected definition there. What I'm going to quickly do here is actually share the report. There is the link in the live chat, and if you're watching the recorded version, I will be sure to include the report in the description as soon as we're done here. Okay, so the report's been shared in the live chat if you want to check it out yourself. And like I said, it just provides a really great baseline to see where the world was at beforehand, right? Before we started all of this craziness. So we're going to cover the top 10 reasons why people prefer to work remotely. Now you could be a digital nomad. Obviously, if you're a digital nomad, you're going to be working remotely. But you don't have to be a digital nomad to work remotely. You could just work from home. So these top 10 reasons will apply whether you're a digital nomad or a work from home remote worker / professional as well. All right, so here are the top 10 reasons. We are going to start at number 10. The 10th reason is care for aging parents. This was 16% of the polled respondents there indicated that they prefer remote work so that they can care for aging parents. I have to admit that I myself think about this quite often. My mom is 72 years old, and if you're watching this, Mom, I'm sorry for sharing that. and I somehow sometimes often think about what life is going to look like a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. People are living longer and longer, but I do have a professional background as an insurance agent. I was an insurance agent for a couple of years, and I was exposed to the realities of life, and people are living longer and longer. But however, that also means that people are much more likely to sustain an illness or an injury, and these are just the realities of our world. Excuse me while I get some water. All right. And again, if you're joining us live, make sure you let us know where you're from in the live chat. And if you're watching the recorded version, share your comments and your feedback and your questions in the comments section below. So, number 10 was care for aging parents. I clearly don't know what your situation is. Maybe this is applicable to you or not, but if you weren't thinking about it before, you might be now, based off of COVID, based off of recent events. Lots of families have started to converge and pool their resources. In a lot of families and close friends, thought, well, during this really uncertain time, it'd be really good and prudent and sensible for us to live under one roof, just in case someone was to get sick. That way, you could share resources, pool resources, send someone to the store to get groceries. It just made a lot more sense. So over recent weeks and months, we have witnessed a lot of families, just a lot of children and adult children returning home and pooling resources. So I'd be curious if this number 10 moved up the ranks the next time they do this survey. And I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but I'm hoping that they do this survey again, hopefully maybe this November coming up, because it'd be wonderful to see how the data, how the results change, how they shift from one year to the next, especially after a massive pandemic like the crisis we are experiencing right now. Number nine, the ninth reason why people prefer to work remotely is it makes it easier to start a family. So it's no surprise that young families are struggling financially, are struggling probably with deciding where to live. Younger families certainly would not find it very easy to live in the downtown core of some of these more expensive cities. So they opt to live out into the suburbs where they can find more affordable housing and accommodations. Now this means a lot more time commuting, and if you have a little one at home, a little baby at home, it's likely that you only have one parent working, or maybe neither of the parents working. So it's obviously going to be easier to start a family if one or both parents are remote workers and able to squeeze in that little bit of work when your child is taking a nap or sleeping or playing, and on a play date or something, and it's clearly going to give more options to young families. Number 8, relocate somewhere more affordable. Well, this ties into what I was just saying. And sorry, I probably didn't even mention number 9 was 16%. So number 10 was 16%, number 9 was 16%, and number 8 is also 16%. So the bottom 3 reasons were all at the 16% range. And number 8 is relocate somewhere more affordable. Clearly, if you are a remote worker or a digital nomad, you get to choose where in town you get to live, what city you want to live in, what province or state you want to live in, what country you want to live in. You can legally reduce your tax burden just by making a simple move to another city, another state, another country. And people are doing this every single day. And the more remote workers we have, the more flexibility that we're going to have with regards to that. And in fact, I would venture, I guess, that a lot of these municipalities charging residential taxes on their citizens, and different federal governments taxing their citizens will have to take a very hard look at their tax structure if you start seeing a massive exodus of people leaving your geographic region in search for greener pastures. The more remote workers we have, the more we're going to see people leaving the high expensive regions and getting to more economical regions, so that your dollar, your pound, your euro will be stretched that much further. And in light of recent events, once again, people are exploring these avenues to reduce their expenses. Okay, number 7, the 7th reason why people prefer remote work: spend more time with pets, 18%. I find this interesting that spending more time with their pets was more important than the other 3, but hey, there you go. There you have it. It's no secret for anyone who knows me. I'm a pet lover. I've always considered myself a dog person, and it's always interesting when you're away for a while and you come home and your dog acts like they haven't seen you in a lifetime. And dogs are always keen on showing just an abundance of love for their pet owners, their owners, and I can imagine that there's a lot of pet owners out there that are just feel absolute heartbroken when they have to leave their pet home all day. And that's especially problematic if you don't have maybe an enclosed yard for them to run around, or another pet to play with. It can be quite lonely, quite stressful for a lot of pets out there. And I don't know a single pet owner out there that doesn't understand that and doesn't find some reason behind that as well, right? So something to keep in mind. So number 6, The sixth reason why people prefer remote work, it's more environmentally sustainable. 23% people said this. It's more environmentally sustainable. So yeah, if you're not stuck in traffic, doing an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of commuting every single day, then you're obviously going to have a smaller carbon footprint, and it's going to be better for the environment. I posted on my social media, this was probably about a month ago, when Sir David Attenborough made public statements around remote work, and he publicly shared that if we had more remote workers, that the world, the earth, the environment would have a massive benefit by that, a massive improvement. And it's no secret, because it's been published across various news outlets, that we have witnessed a massive, massive shift and improvement in our environment ever since the pandemic started. What's terrible for the travel industry, less planes, less trains, less automobiles, all of that, has been fantastic for the atmosphere. All the any results and tests that I've been reviewing and reading and learning about recently have shown that nature is being revitalized and coming back. And I think I saw there were dolphins found in Venice, and just examples all over the place. I'm no expert in this, so I don't want to harp on this longer, but it's clear that it's important to people, and important enough that they'll consider remote work, when it's the sixth reason to consider remote work is environmental sustainability. Number 5, the fifth reason for being a remote worker, is better for mental health. Yeah, that's a big one. Mental health. Mental health is going to be a massive issue, whether it's a massive issue whether you're a remote professional digital nomad or a location-based person. And clearly there are a lot of people out there. This is 29% of the people that responded to the survey clearly expressed some mental health problems with having to work in a particular geographic region, whereas they just found it less stressful and a lot healthier mental health wise if they could work from home in an environment that they have control over. Imagine just being able to decide when you get to go on a washroom break, because there are companies and firms out there that have controls on that, on when you can go and use the toilet and use the loo, use the facilities. And you can imagine the compounding effect that has when it's all those little kinds of rules, how you can have your workspace set up, whereas when you're at home, you can have your workspace set up however you wish to optimize things for you. So clearly mental health is benefited when you have a remote working, when you can fulfill that remote working capacity. Number 4, the fourth reason to be a remote worker. And I have to say, I'm a big fan of this one. More productive at home. 35% of the people responding to the survey said that they're more productive at home. I cannot agree with this more. I can't. I really can't. Because I've worked as a location-based person, and even after I became a digital marketing professional, there were times where I found myself going into the office and I never got anything done. Never got a thing done. It was all chit chat and conversation, and don't get me wrong, that was beneficial too, because it's important to have that rapport with your coworkers and your colleagues. It actually makes you more efficient, and we're human beings at the end of the day. We're emotional, social creatures. You want to develop those relationships, and it's easier to do in person. I don't discount that one bit. However, I did not get half as much work done when I was in the office. I was able to increase my productivity. Oh, geez, probably I didn't measure it, but I would, if I had a guess, it'd be at least 3x, maybe 4x. But for those of you who have to work, I probably mention this more often than anything else, but I'm a firm believer in noise canceling headphones. I use my Bose noise canceling headphones if I'm in a coffee shop or a co-working space or office, and I still use them if I'm working at home, even if there's no one else home, because I find that it helps me zone out and just really zero in on and focus on what the task is at hand. But aside from that, fourth reason, the fourth reason for people to want to work remotely is to be more productive. Number 3, third reason. with 44% of the people saying this as an answer, spend more time with their family. I already touched on this a little bit ago. It's truly sad that some people are forced to live so far away from their workplace because they can't afford to be closer. But then unfortunately what that results in is you spending 10, 11, 12 longer longer hours away from home. And if you're working a 5-day work week, that translates into a lot of missed time with your loved ones. So this one change in your lifestyle, this one change for some people would capture, let's say it's a 1-hour commute to work, fighting through traffic. So that's 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours a week. You that's you wouldn't work. Let's say you're working 50 hours a week. So what did I say? 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week. That's 500 hours a year. That is not insignificant. 500 hours. Imagine reclaiming 500 hours of your life. And I know what you might be thinking. You're like, well, maybe driving is my alone time. It's my chance to listen to my favorite podcasts or my audiobooks. Okay, that's fair. However, you can easily do that while you're at home, washing the dishes, doing the vacuuming, doing something else, and you don't have to be stuck in traffic to listen to your favorite podcast. You could jump on the treadmill, go for a bike ride, and listen to your favorite podcast. But the third reason to be a remote worker is more time with family, more time with loved ones. That is not a surprise to me. Number 2, second most popular reason is work from anywhere. 47% of the people out there stated that being able to work from anywhere is the second most valuable reason to be a remote worker. And that clearly ties in with being a digital nomad. Again, you don't have to be a digital nomad to be a remote worker, but being able to work from anywhere, there's freedom in that. There's power in that. You can go to you can there could be a family emergency and you could go to the hospital, and maybe you can't see them for hours and hours on end, but you have your laptop with you. You can open up your laptop and get some work done. There's any one of dozens, hundreds of situations where being able to work anywhere is going to make the difference between you succeeding in your professional goals and you failing at your professional goals. So something to keep in mind. And being able to work from anywhere. Oh geez, I could probably make a whole video on this one thing alone. I wrote about it. I wrote about it in my book. I've talked about it in interviews. I guess I should quickly just dive into this. And if you're joining us live, or if you're coming across Digital Nomad Journey for the first time, thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Andrew. I founded Digital Nomad Journey during the pandemic because I felt compelled to do something to give back, and I knew that this is how I can do that. And the second most popular reason to be a remote worker is to be able to work from anywhere. And the reason why I need to harp on this, because it wasn't that long ago when Australia and before that California experienced the worst fire seasons that they ever experienced their whole lives. And imagine all the people that lost their businesses, lost their jobs because they were too busy trying to save their homes, save their livelihood, right? Or how about any one of the number of hurricanes and earthquakes and tornadoes and tsunamis? Same situation. Businesses completely destroyed, completely gone because of a natural disaster. And then how about any one of the 100 examples of civil and political unrest that have throughout history and are going on right now today? It's a sad reality that we live in such a volatile environment, and that we're experiencing these social injustices going around, negatively impacting so many people's lives. These are good people that are negatively impacted, and quite often a lot of these people are losing their jobs and losing their businesses, losing their clients because they're tied to a specific geographic region. You can't put a price tag on the value, the freedom of you being able to fold up your laptop and go. Fold up your laptop, grab a few essentials, grab your loved ones, and get to safety because your current location no longer is favorable. And I'm passionate about this because that can mean the difference to so many people's lives if you had a location independent way of life. So that was and once again, that was the second most popular reason. Let's bring them all up here. The number one reason to work remotely. 48% of the respondents said to save money. So there's ultimately, at the end of the day, there's only 3 ways you can improve your financial situation. You can reduce expenses, increase income, or you could do both. So ideally, you can do both. And let's be honest here, when it comes to reducing your expenses, there's a cap, right? There's a cap. You can only reduce your expenses so much before you're not going to be able to go any further. Whereas there is never going to be a cap on how much income you make. Really, when you think about it, there isn't a cap. Okay, maybe you have a job and you have a salary cap, but there's nothing stopping you from starting a side hustle and starting an at-home online business to increase your income. Really, ultimately, when you take a step back, no one truly has a cap on their income. If you improve and become a better version of yourself, then there is no cap with how much income you can generate. So clearly, that if you could only do one, that's the better option to take. Now, if you have a more immediate need to improve your financial situation, and right now many people are going through tough times, and I get it. So the more immediate solution would be to reduce your expenses, which could be, and I'm not talking about like the famous reason everyone uses is to stop drinking your coffee a day, stop drinking your Starbucks latte a day, and save your $5. And I believe to a certain extent, I believe with some of the experts that are saying that, but ultimately, it's those kinds of changes that are not going to make a massive, measurable improvement on your life. Okay, it's far more beneficial if you can get rid of your car. You become a remote worker, chances are you probably won't need a vehicle anymore. It depends on a lot of factors, and I get that. But just for simplicity's sake and time's sake, let's just quickly say you can get rid of your car. Once you've gotten rid of that car payment, the insurance, the gas, the maintenance, the time spent in your car, and you extrapolate all of that, it is thousands and thousands of dollars a year. Parking, thousands and thousands of dollars or euros or pounds a year that you're saving. Imagine putting that money into your pocket. Imagine keeping that currency where it will do an impact, make more of a difference in your life, and that's in your pocket, so that you can cover healthcare expenses or education or build your business or learn a new skill. So saving money, with almost half the people responding, they clearly have identified that being able to work remotely, not spending money on maybe certain clothing that you have to when you're going into the office, transportation expenses to get to and from the office, eating out because it's going to be more economical for you to cook meals for yourself at home. I mean, this is another subject I could probably do an entire video on, and just share the massive financial impact that you can make on your life just by making this one lifestyle choice. You don't have to be a digital nomad. But if you are a digital nomad, there are ways that you could save even more money. You could go to workaway.com, and you can exchange some work to get free accommodations by working on a organic farm, teaching people how to speak English, helping around the house, babysitting, childcare, all kinds of things in exchange for free room and board. And as long as you have an internet connection, then you should be able to run your business or work, and you're living a rent-free life, or house sitting, I can go on and on and on. All right. Woo. So there you have it. Those are the 10 top 10 reasons to work remotely. Excuse me. I just posted about this on my social media recently, and I actually tagged Zapier in it. I'm crossing my fingers that they're gonna pay for another report, another survey done this November. It'd be amazing to see how these 10 reasons, is it going to be the same 10? Are they just going to move around? Are the percentages going to adjust somewhat after we experience the pandemic? So now we have that baseline that we got from November 2019. I wonder what it would look like in November 2020. So I ask you, are these results obvious? Are they surprising? Excuse me. What impact do you think the pandemic is going to have on these results? And if there's something that you're thinking of that wasn't included in this top 10, please comment below. Like I said, I'm obsessed with this stuff, and I'm very curious what is missing from this list. What do you think is a benefit of being a location independent person that's not on this list that perhaps should have been? So many thanks to Zapier and the Harris poll for providing this baseline data from last year. I'm very thankful that we have companies out there that were way ahead of their time. Many companies were fully remote, like Zapier, and clearly with the events of 2020, we're probably going to experience many more companies going this route as well. Famously, recently, Twitter and Facebook and other big conglomerates have made announcements that they are allowing a portion of their staff to work remotely in perpetuity, permanently from home if they decide to, if they wish to. So I hope you really enjoyed this review. Please check out that full report if you want more detailed information. And once again, go to digitalnomadjourney.com/free book to check out my book, Digital Nomad Lifestyle Guide, for free. You'll find a ton of helpful information in there. And I will see you all on Monday at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 8 a.m. Pacific. I will continue going live 3 times a week. If you are able to show up live, make sure you ask your questions in the live chat. Looks like I don't have any questions on today's chat, but I appreciate you for watching the live version if you were here, and if you're here watching the recording, I appreciate you as well. You might want to check out these YouTube videos since they will be helpful for you as well. My name is Andrew. This is Digital Nomad Journey. Own the day and make it yours.